What's up, everyone? It's Stray Dog. 7 years ago, I got arrested a couple of times for doing something completely legal, and KRQE News showed up to cover it. The auditing community has since exploded. More activists, more arrests, more videos. I've gone on to win a federal court case and a $275,000 settlement, so it's 100% possible to be victorious in this. So watch this interview, then ask yourself, does today's auditing community operate in the same way with the same information and understanding? I won, but are we actually winning? I'll let you decide.
So can you just start off by telling me why you started this YouTube account and um, go from there, I guess.
Well, I'm before auditing a couple, I think I was doing photography and videography. And when I was doing some research on those topics, I ran into some person in the auditing videos. And I thought, wow, that's cool. You know, you guys are doing some pretty good things and standing up to police and defending the rights. I said, that's something, I've witnessed tyranny and on my own part and other people. So I thought, I need to study up on these laws, and do this myself. So I studied up on local ordinances, on state laws, and the Constitution, and realized, you know what, so many of us had no idea that we had these rights and we had the power, so that's what it's about, is educating the citizens, we have the power to fight back.
So in your mind, more of awareness of what we can and can't do.
Absolutely, yes.
And so we can just get into these incidences. The one with Artesia Police Department in September, and then more recently with Carlsbad Police. Can you tell me? Do you feel that you acted appropriately in these videos?
Yes, 100%. Every time, I spoke a lot to the police, and we have the right to say nothing, absolutely nothing. But for me, it's more of an education to let them know you're doing wrong. You can't do this. I rather them learn right there on the spot, and rather than thinking this the whole legal way like it's going now, And so now it's going to take a longer process for them to learn that they were wrong, instead of just admitting it on the spot and saying I'm sorry, and letting a law-abiding citizen go on his way.
So this is your way of holding them accountable.
This is my version of a protest, I guess you'd say. We want to hold them accountable, make sure that they, if we do something illegal, we get punished, and we expect that from them too. They're not above the law. They have orders, they have rules, and we expect them to follow it to the T, and nothing more, nothing less. And they go above their authority, and most citizens don't know their rights, so they just take it and that only empowers them to continue their behavior. We want good cops. We only need good cops. I know we need cops. And I'm not anti-cop. I'm pro-cop. I have friends that are cops. I have friends that are firemen. And we just, for their protection also, we weed out the bad cops. That's the idea.
And so I'm guessing then you feel that you were wrongfully arrested in the first incident with Artesia Police.
Yes, there was no crime. I was engaged in a constitutionally protected activity, and they can't make a constitutionally protected activity a suspicious activity. And, that's I was out there covering a story, and it's not my fault they don't like it, but it's my right to do it.
And I know you have some supporters definitely seeing the YouTube account, but then I'm guessing there are some people who question why you do this. I know you already kind of touched on that, but what do some of the haters say, and, can you reiterate why you do this?
Well, there's a lot of people, they have their dad is a cop, or their mom's a cop, or their grandpa was a cop, their uncle, and, so everybody who knows a cop thinks that they're a cop. The one they know is the exception, and there's millions of hours of video that prove otherwise, and I understand where they're coming from, but what they need to see is the reality of what people are subject to on a daily basis, not just the pretty stories they hear about how their friend's a hero, So they'll put it down, tell us get a job, you're a loser, listen, they have no idea what we do throughout the day. They just see the video that we put out there, and I'm not out there 24 hours a day filming. I have a job, I have work to do. This is just when I have the opportunities, I go out there and I expose what we see. And if it's a good cop, a good deal, I'm going to put that too. Just lately it's been nothing but tyrants.
Sure, and you said that you're the only one that you know who really does this in the area. Is that the whole state or Southeast New Mexico?
New Mexico. I have friends from coast to coast, several, many. And as far as New Mexico, I know there's a gentleman up north, Red River, and that's done a few. Other than that, it's been other auditors that have only passed through the state, headed to Arizona, California. So really, right now, I'm the only one in New Mexico.
And so, essentially, what we would call this is First Amendment auditing. Is essentially how you professionally call your
First Amendment audit is when we go out and hope that the general public or any government officials respect our rights to be heard in public. And then there's cop watching. Whenever we see a traffic stop or anything dealing with police, we'll just sit back and record and make sure it all goes smoothly, you know. And every now and then, the cops, of course, are going to act extra nice when there's a camera. So then they'll issue a warning instead of a citation, or they'll do whatever just to make it look good on camera. And that's called cop blocking. So it would actually do the lesser than escalate the situation just because we're in recording.
And you have lawyers or a lawyer. Can you describe to me, what you're doing on that end, and as far as the case that you were actually charged with?
Well, my attorneys are definitely pursuing for the incident in Artesia. So we're in appeals court process now with that. We're going through all the way, 100%. And same thing with this one here on California.
Yeah, so even though you weren't technically arrested, can you describe to me what legal processes you might pursue, or what happens with this one?
Well, I'm not going to get into 100% details about the case, but there's going to be for unlawful detainment, the threat of arrest, and stuff like that.
Do you feel you went too far in that incident with Carlsbad Police?
No, I know. I understand how some people would, but I had plenty to say, and like I said, it's about the education. I wish they would have listened to me, but instead, now they have to hear it this way, and I could have kept quiet, but testosterone's run, you know what I mean? So it's just, that's probably pretty much what that was. But no, I don't think I went overboard at all.
And the police departments are responding now, and saying that they're reviewing their policies and they're, looking into this on their end. What do you have to say about that? Are you glad? Is this what you wanted?
Well, I mean, it seems, like that's the appropriate action. This didn't come out until a couple of weeks after the fact. They should have investigated right away. But the thing is, when the police investigate themselves, it's the same as that in the law. They investigate themselves. They're not going to find no wrongdoing. They never do. And they do a lot of cops training, and the citizens who don't know better will just take that as fact, and it's all good. They don't expect us citizens to know better and to be able to afford lawsuits and stuff, so they get away with it.
Do you hope that it does spark some sort of change?
Yes, I want policy change. I want the whole 9 yards. Like I said, I'm the only one in New Mexico, so this is the first time the awareness has been risen to this level. And I wish there was more out there that would help me. Do the same thing, pull out their phones every time they see police, record them. And, all it's going to do is keep them accountable, keep the citizens safe, and even the officers, keep them safe, because there's still cops out there. They don't need to get hurt because a suspect still angry by another cop, that did him wrong. So, you just want everybody held accountable and honor their oath.
It's definitely a unique approach. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, I'm not the first one to do it. I'm just the first one here. So it's not unique. It's just maybe different in this area as well.
Certainly. Okay, cool. That's fair. And anything else that you have to say about these incidences and why you do what you do on the side?
Well, our Constitution is important. It's our God-given rights that every human in the world have. And the Constitution guarantees us those rights, and they're not to be infringed upon for any purpose. And any laws or ordinances that go against and contradict the Constitution is automatically nullified and void. So it doesn't matter what they say. If it goes off that, goes against it, then, we have the right to fight it. It doesn't matter what they think, what they feel, what they've been told. The Constitution is the supreme rule of the land. And bottom line, that's what it is.
Definitely. Anything else that you have to add about this? Just anything you were dying to say or felt like you wanted to get out?
No, I just hope everybody, all the police learn from this and do their job like we expect them to.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I'll go ahead and stop recording. Perfect.
All right.
Was that bad?
That was okay.
I know it's a little nerve
I talked
wracking.
a little too much, probably.
Well, the beautiful thing is that it's all edited, and I'm sure you know that already being, videographer, photographer, and all that. But yeah, so it'll be like so small compared to the whole thing, right?
It's time.